Pot roast filled my parents' dining room. Salt, onions, the illusion of warmth. The illusion didn't reach the table. My daughter Avery sat across from me, fork hovering, eyes fixed on my mother. Diane cleared her throat. One small sound, and I was 12 again, shoulders braced, waiting. Avery, she said, setting her wine glass down with deliberate care. You're 18 now. An adult, Avery nodded, shoulders tight. Adults contribute, Diane continued. You've stayed here long enough. Starting next month, you'll pay $500 a month. My father, Glenn, nodded without looking up. Or she finds somewhere else. Avery blinked hard. I'm in school, she said. I work at the bookstore, but then at hours. Diane cut in. We're not running a charity. I watched my daughter's hands begin to shake. She set her fork down. Chairs gathered, stubborn, silent. My mother savored that moment. The instant someone realized love came with an invoice. Mom, I said evenly, we should discuss this privately. There's nothing private about paying your way, Glenn said. We did in 1978. When rent didn't swallow a paycheck, I replied. Diane waved it off. Excuses. I won't watch you raise her to be entitled. Heat climbed my neck. Under the table, I touched Avery's knee. A quiet hold. You're right, I said. Let's put everything on the table. All expenses. Complete transparency. Diane's smile flashed. Exactly. I reached into my bag and pulled out my laptop. The hinge snapped open louder than it should have. Since we're talking costs, I said, turning the screen toward them. Let's start with the payments on this house. Glenn's knife stopped mid-slice. What payments? We paid it off. I met his eyes. Did you? Silence settled. Over the table, Diane leaned forward, eyes narrowing at the screen. What are you implying, Marin? I'm implying the mortgage never died, I said. You refinanced in 2019. Kitchen upgrades, vacations. When Dad's consulting dried up, the payments stopped. Glenn's jaw flexed. That's not your business. It became my business the first time you called me about foreclosure, I said, forcing calm into every syllable. Avery's gaze flicked between us. Grandma, Diane stared at her plate. I scrolled. September 2020. 3 months behind. I covered it 7,200. I tapped again. Then 2,400 every month since. Stop. Diane whispered, knuckles whitening around her glass. Glenn shoved his chair back. You had no right. No right to keep you housed? I asked. While you bought a new car and repainted the living room? Avery's voice was small. How much? 147,600, I said. The number dropped like a weight. The room felt colder. Diane's mouth opened, then closed. We were going to. It's been 5 years. I cut in. 5 years of me paying quietly. And tonight you threaten my daughter. Avery stood, her napkin sliding to the floor. She looked at Diane, hurt sharpening into clarity. So you want rent, she said, steady now, for a house my mom pays for. My mother's eyes brimmed. We're family. So is she, I said, snapping the laptop shut. And you treated her like a bill. I stood. Avery, grab your things. You're coming home. She moved to my side without hesitation, her fingers finding mine. I didn't look back as we left. Behind us, my father's breathing sawed in and out, and my mother made a sound like she'd swallowed glass. The night air tasted like relief. In the car, Avery buckled in and stared out the window. Mom, she said softly, why didn't you tell me? Because it wasn't yours to carry, I said, pulling away from the curb. And because I hoped they'd face it if I stayed invisible. My phone buzzed. Diane, then Glenn. I let it ring. At my place, I put water on for tea while Avery dropped her backpack by the couch. You're going to stop paying? She asked. I'm going to stop pretending it's a gift. I opened my laptop. The payments marched back years. Starting next month. It's a loan, interest, a schedule. They sign or I stop. Avery's mouth tightened. And if they can't, then they sell and downsize. Reality is cheaper than pride. The phone buzzed again. I answered on speaker. Glenn sounded raw. Please don't make this legal. You made it legal when you took my money and threatened my daughter, I said. I want an apology. To Avery. Monday, I hire a lawyer. Next week you get papers. A sob breathed through the line. Diane. Avery leaned closer. I did the dishes, she said quietly. I cleaned. I ran errands. I thought that counted. It did. I told her. More than enough. Glenn was silent for a long moment. We'll sign, he said, small. Good, I replied. Then learn. When I ended the call, Avery cradled her mug. Is this what being an adult is? Part of it, I said. Protecting the people you love and refusing to call cruelty a lesson. She nodded once, steady. Outside, my phone finally went quiet.